Hi, everyone, and welcome to Juno Sphere, where we learn about a whole sphere of topics and how they are interconnected, just as we are all interconnected. The purpose of this video is to enlighten and entertain you. The bat, creature of mystery and darkness, is, in the East, a creature of good omen. 5 symbolic bats are worn as a talisman and denote 5 blessings, namely happiness, wealth, peace, virtue, and long life. We of the West, however, still believe that the bat is the harbinger of evil, and around it cluster countless medieval baseless superstitions. In this video, Juno looks at bats from a variety of angles. For example, when we simply turn a picture of bats upside down, it appears as if they are partying. Bats are ancient creatures, having inhabited Earth for about 50 million years. There are nearly 1,000 kinds of bats, who comprise nearly 1/4 of all mammal species. They are unique as they are the only mammal who can truly fly. Others, like the flying squirrel seen here, merely glide. The nocturnal appearance of bats after twilight, combined with their many folded faces, long ears, uncanny upside-down sleeping, and seemingly erratic flying, have made them associated with evil spirits and beings who haunt the darkness. The bat has its own place in medieval bestiaries because it was believed to be a creature symbolizing affection. This was based on the observation of bats hanging together in closely bunched groups. In medieval bestiaries, the bat is still presented in a positive light. When bats decide to stay in one place for an extended period of time, they hold on to one another and form clusters, an exchange of favors of a sort quite rare in human society. Yet this admiration for the bat, unlike other views expressed in the bestiaries, did not carry over into popular attitudes. Bats inspired awe because their form was ambiguous. They resembled some kind of cross between an animal and a bird. In ancient Asian belief, bats were understood to be the most perfect bird because they nurse their young. Because female bats are the only flying creatures that suckle their young, it is considered to be a good mother. Negative associations have taken a deadly toll. Many species of bats are extremely endangered due to the loss of their habitat and because people have perceived them as vermin fit for extermination. This terribly upsets the balance of nature. Bats are genuine fertility figures, responsible for the pollination of many plant species, particularly in the desert. Without the bat, these botanical species cannot multiply. Bats are also responsible for insect control. One bat can gobble up as many as 600 mosquitoes in 1 hour. In days past, the winged rodent-like bat was called by the colorful name flittermouse. Since bats are nocturnal creatures that loathe the light, the hellfires of the infernal regions would inspire them to flap like hell to get out of there. That may be the idea behind the expression to move like a bat out of hell, extremely fast, which is traced back to 1908 and which probably goes back to the late 19th century. It was also slang used by RAF pilots since World War I for the saying to fly extremely fast. Bats, meaning crazy or nuts, seems to derive from the phrase, as does batty, meaning the same. The expression holds on mainly because of its alliteration, like the much older phrase, having a bee in his bonnet. But the image of bats flapping their wings and squeaking in the dark is a strong one that does suggest craziness. Blind bats flapping about in the vast emptiness of someone's head, which suggested a church bell tower or belfry, formed the basis of this expression, meaning a little crazy in the head, poco loco in the coco. Apparently, no one told anybody, "You've got bats in your belfry," until early in the last century, for the first recorded use of the phrase was in 1907. In the 1960s, a new superhero appeared on American television known as Batman. Over the decades, the Batman character has been portrayed in a number of hugely successful movies. Batman's heroism arises from his ability to integrate his bat or shadow nature with his human nature. For fans of horror movies, the bat has become an animal to be feared. It is said to not only become entangled in long hair, but the vampire bat is thought to be a satanic agent that sucks the soul from the body along with its lifeblood. However, there is more to the bat than purely negative symbolism. But to make matters worse, Cortez's true tales of blood-sucking vampire bats in South America, 1485 to 1547, were brought to the Old World, where no such vampire bats exist, and fantastic stories like that of Dracula, for instance, strengthened the superstitious beliefs about the imaginary wrongdoings of the bat. Dracula, for example, was a man who took the form of a blood-sucking vampire at will and made many beautiful girls his victims. Like vampires, werewolves and bats are nocturnal creatures that suck their victims' blood. A vampire is said to be able to shapeshift into a bat. If these creatures appear in your dreams, it may be to draw attention to something going on in your life that is frightening or tricky to deal with. Vampire bats are indigenous only to the Western Hemisphere. The three surviving blood-consuming bat species range from Argentina to Mexico. They are not, and never were, found in Central Europe, where the concept of an undead creature who survives by sapping the vitality of the living has existed since time immemorial. In certain areas of Central Europe and the Balkans, vampires and werewolves are synonymous. Vampire is also used to indicate a witch, so vampire bat may also be understood to mean witch bat. Vampire bats received that name from the mythic vampire, not vice versa. After blood-consuming bats were discovered by Europeans, the name was bestowed upon them. Bram Stoker was intrigued by the concept of blood-consuming bats, and so incorporated them into his novel Dracula, whose success forever changed perceptions of the bats and the mythical vampires, who were traditionally not always typecast as bloodsuckers. Many traditional vampires preferred consuming sexual fluids or more abstract life forces, such as the aura. If you had a dream in which someone you know came too close for comfort before bearing a set of needle-sharp fangs, your dream may be alerting you to someone who is feeding off your energy, or else sponging off your finances and thriving at your expense. Werewolves and bats, like vampires, come out at night to suck people's blood, just as vampires go through a metamorphosis to become bats. So too, werewolves undergo a transformation from human being during the full moon. It is thought that these creatures in your dream mean that there is something going on in your life that is awkward and difficult to deal with. Bats can see in the dark, suggesting thoughts or influences that emerge from our intuition or inner wisdom. It has always been considered bad luck to kill a bat. A bat flying around the house 3 times is a sign that someone living inside will shortly die. Finding a bat inside a house has the same meaning. You are about to be deceived or taken advantage of if a bat flies close to you. These are just a few of the superstitions flying around about bats. A bat amulet made of jade is said to protect anyone who wears it from an early death. In the Middle Ages, the bat was believed to be in league with the devil, as well as in partnership with witches. It is still called the witch's bird. The bat was credited with the power to transform itself into a human form or that of a wolf or other unrelated species. Both witches and bats worked at night and mysteriously disappeared at dawn. Hence, the bad reputation was acquired by these harmless animals that were in reality only chasing and eating insects around the witch's fire. And, by the way, the bat is the only mammal capable of true flight. Contrary to popular notion, the bat is not blind. Its eyes are small but keen, but of no use in guiding its flight. The bat is able to perform its blind flying in darkness, or actually blindfolded, with perfect precision because it flies by the ear. About 1941, scientists discovered with a special device that bats' ears guide them in their seemingly noiseless flights through their ability to hear supersonic sounds. The clamor of shrill cries which accompanies the bat's flight are echoed from the wall. The bats hear them and know that they are in danger of collision and pattern their flight accordingly. Hence, radar and a bat's ears have much in common. The nocturnal nature of the bat makes it, like the owl, a creature that has access to hidden knowledge and secret information, able to detect things in the hours of darkness that are not accessible to diurnal creatures. Before echolocation was recognized and understood, the bat's ability to find its way about was a source of great intrigue, adding to the mystique of the animal. The bat was demonized in biblical tradition, where it was called the devil's bird, and even becoming one of the shapes of the devil himself with bat wings. The devil is portrayed as a fallen angel in art with bat's wings. He, too, flees the light, and the same is true for demonic creatures of every sort. Saint Hildegard of Bingen, 1098 to 1179, also wrote that the bat, which she classified as a bird, flies especially at the time when ghosts choose to travel while people sleep, and she offers a treatment for jaundice that will not appeal to animal lovers. The sufferer should carefully impale the bat so that it remains alive. Then attach it with its back to his or her own. Immediately thereafter, the bat should be attached to the sufferer's stomach until the animal dies. The bat was apparently supposed to draw the disease out of the sufferer's body and become infected itself. In spite of the witch connection, Manx people, residents of the Isle of Man, say it is extremely lucky if a bat falls on a person. Many women outside the island would doubt this because of the very general belief that if a bat alights or falls on a woman's head, it becomes entangled in her hair and cannot get away until the hair is cut. It seems, however, that this is also a superstition without foundation in fact. In The Countryman, spring 1960, there is an account of experiments conducted in 1959 by the Earl of Cranbrook with the help of 3 gallant young women who allowed him to thrust a bat into their hair. 4 different kinds of bats were used, and in each case the creature escaped quite easily without getting entangled in any way. So, having learned a bit more about bats, have you changed your views about these mysterious creatures? Take some advice from a bat. Trust in your senses. Spend time just hanging around with friends. Get a grip. Enjoy the nightlife. Sometimes you just gotta wing it. Guano happens. For more information on a variety of topics, check out the growing library of videos on Junosphere. And be sure to check out Junosphere's companion video titled Bats, Myths and Misconceptions Through the Ages. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and jingle that bell for notifications. I'm so appreciative of your support. Thanks for tuning in, and I invite you to tune in to Junosphere again soon. Bye!